Hello, YouTube. Hello.
Hello, everybody on YouTube.
So this is how the campaign update should have looked the first time round. We know you didn't get it in that format, but this is what it actually should look like.
Hello,
and as you can see, we are here. We're with the Squad Blasters. We're live.
We're live with the Squaddy Bees.
You can see in the little left-hand corner, everyone's saying hello. And we're just about to do our second campaign update for session number 2.
Yes.
So do you want to give a recap of, like a brief recap of where we ended it?
A brief recap of where we ended it was, well, I'll give you a brief recap of the session, was we made our way to Hemwick with a few NPCs from the one-shot. We cleared out Hemwick as that was going to be the base of operations to go back to the great city of Azrendith. They began to build the bridge and fill up Hemwick. And as a few days passed by, the bridge was almost built, and Harold Isak, one of the members of the Ashen Heart, got the group together for a meeting about what they're going to do when they go into the great city of Azrendith.
Mm-hmm.
And he, at the end of that briefing, said, could he speak to Dale, Abby's character? And as everyone left and it was just him and her, he said the words, I didn't realise another one made it out alive. And his eyes flashed purple, which is the same colour that Abby's are.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where we began.
So, yeah, by the way, ending it on the cliffhanger of that, we were all obviously freaking the fuck out, right? Oh, God, I shouldn't have sworn.
Don't worry about it.
We were freaking the freak out.
We were freaking the freak out.
We were freaking the freak out. And we literally started the session in that room.
In that conversation.
Everyone had stepped out. Dale was in the room with the Herald, and she very smartly said, well, that's a good trick with the eyes, which immediately put Herald on the back burner, right? Like, he immediately was like, oh my God, have I made the right decision? Am I wrong? Again, I'm assuming, based on his reaction.
On his reaction.
Right?
Because obviously me and Abby know things that the rest of the group don't.
Yeah, no, of course.
I know even more, though.
Yeah, well, the joy of being the DM. And he kind of panicked, and he took a more of a defensive stance.
Yeah.
And Abby had a few persuasion rolls or deception rolls. Yeah. Abby, by the way, if you remember in the first session recap, rolled like dog
Couldn't
shit.
roll above a 5.
Rolled. I'm so sorry, Abby. I adore you. Rolled like dog shit.
Yeah.
However,
dreadful. But at the beginning of this session,
she brought it back.
She rolled like a beast.
She rolled like a beast this session.
It was unbelievable.
So she rolled some incredible persuasion checks and some incredible deception checks, I think.
Yeah.
And the Herald kind of opened back up with her.
Yeah.
And he made his eyes purple again, and they had a discussion that obviously none of us understood. It was very cryptic, and the general gist of the conversation was, well, how long have you been here? And to which Dale said, well, a couple of years. And the Herald said, well, did you complete?
Mm-hmm.
Listen, we don't know what that means. I have categorically no clue what that means. None of us does, apart from them, but Dale rolled a deception check, I think.
Because she said what?
Because she said yes.
Yeah, I completed.
Yes, I completed.
I asked for a deception check.
Don't know what that means. You fucking bloody hell, God knows what that means.
And then she asked him the question back, did you complete?
Yeah.
And he said, I was one of the first people to complete.
Yeah, he said, I was one of the first people to complete. And he said, did you hear anything else after? And they were basically having this conversation where they knew exactly what they were talking about, but we had no idea. But they were talking about, had they heard anything else?
Yeah, had they had any more information?
Was someone, there was something about being interrogated. Maybe there not being anything else. And the conversation kind of ended on the Herald saying to Dale, I think there's another one of us here. There's another one close. So keep your eye out.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where the conversation finished.
Mm-hmm.
Dale left. Obviously, our characters were all like, what happened? What happened? What fucking happened?
Abby said, I was just looking for a couple of book recommendations.
Yeah. To which we were all like, oh, that tracks,
Fair
actually.
enough.
Yeah. Our characters.
Keeping it close to the chest right now.
Our characters wouldn't know any better.
Which is big for Abby, because in the first campaign, Abby gets very excited about D&D, and it's almost like she can't wait to give it up.
Same. Yeah, same.
So
by the way.
it wasn't a test for me, but when I did this in the session 1 to like open up her backstory,
Yeah.
the fact that I was hoping personally as the dungeon master, I was hoping this conversation went exactly as it did, because everybody at the table learned some weird stuff, but me and Abby were talking, and we knew exactly what we were talking
you
about.
two obviously knew exactly what the situation
Again,
was.
maybe
right?
I knew a little bit more.
Yeah.
But the table learned some stuff.
Yeah.
Abby learned some stuff.
Yeah.
But also Abby kept it close to the chest.
Yeah, which is kind of my favorite way to learn about characters, right? Learning about it because you're physically at the table, but not learning it through directly everyone talking about it in character. Which is my favorite way. And then as we said in the last one, we had 2 weeks basically downtime. And we started the session with, does anyone have anything that they wanted to do or wanted to follow up on?
Yeah, like after me and Abby had that like one-on-one, it was like, okay, we're in the last couple of days of downtime. Does anybody want to do anything else?
Yeah,
and you had a really great one.
Well, yeah, Blythe wanted to go speak to Eisenhardt, who is the blacksmith that's been pulled in to, be the blacksmith for
Hemwick while the retake is on.
But a notable thing about Eisenhardt is he is a wizard.
He is the only wizard.
He is the only wizard that is kicking around Hemwick right now. And if you saw the first one, just to give you a recap on what Withered are, Withered appeared a couple of years ago, and they basically have been rejected from the afterlife. They are people who died, but for whatever reason weren't able to pass to the afterlife, and they remained in life.
Yeah. Remained here, and they do look different. They are grey of skin and gaunt looking. But I said to you guys that, like, obviously this is run by the Ashen Heart. This retake is run by the Ashen Heart. It's funded by the Ashen Heart. You almost like are mercenaries for the Ashen Heart, and everybody here is like working for the Ashen Heart. You can tell how desperate they are because they don't like magic outside of the Ashen Heart, and a few people here are magic users that don't follow the Ashen Heart, and they would never employ a wizard. Yeah. And they have to.
But hey, it's a different world
now.
He's
the best blacksmith, and he's the only one that they've got. So
yeah. And for kind of, whatever reason, Blythe wanted to speak to Eisenhardt. So she went, they just kind of had a chat, and she kind of veiled the conversation behind needing something done to her necklace. To be fair, the necklace kind of got scuffed in like a combat that we had in the first session, and she just said, like, selfishly, could you do this to me? Could you just like polish it up? Which he did. And while he was doing that, she just asked him what it's like
being a wizard.
Yeah. And how people are treating him.
Less bluntly though.
Yeah. No.
So you're a wizard, huh?
So what's it like being fucking dead, mate? What's that like?
What's that like? Not passing on.
Yeah. No, she broached it carefully, but obviously very curiously, right?
Yeah.
And the conversation kind of went. He described it as.
You asked him what it was. Yeah.
Blythe's first question
Gently.
was like, does it hurt? Like coming back from undeath like that, does it hurt? And he said, no, death didn't hurt. But
no, he said death.
No, he said
death hurt.
Death hurt.
But
Death
after
hurt.
that,
But coming back didn't hurt. And Blythe just asked like what it felt like. What was the feeling of? Thank you so much, Drew Stampai, for the song. Thank you so much. Welcome, Drew, by the way. What's it like? What happens to you when you physically do not pass over into the afterlife like that? And he very like devastating to me said it felt like you'd been given up on. It felt like you had been rejected and cast out. And to which Blythe said, by who? And he just said,
I don't know.
Don't know. Which, in a way kind of confirms that, Withered have been rejected by God, if that is actually what's going on, right? And that information really got to Blythe. You're saying here, like, yeah, that's so sad and goosebumps. And yeah, like Blythe really, really felt that.
Yeah.
And Blythe really that resonated with her and kind of got under her skin a little bit, I think. But it kind of the conversation wraps up, and he says, "You're going back into the city. You're going to go to Cleargate first, and my blacksmith shop is there.
Yeah, the Black Hammer.
Could you please just get as many resources as you need?
Just the raw materials that were left. It was just like, whatever's happened, I don't imagine people have taken the raw materials. The heavy and stuff like that. Yeah. You got a bag of holding, so grab us a couple of those things.
Yeah.
He said a couple of other things, like, about, like, just existing as being a withered.
Yeah. Kind of the prejudice about being a withered.
And, also, like, you brought him some bread rolls. Yeah. Like, on the morning, and he was like, I eat it because I need to eat. But, like, I can't taste, like, the sweetness of the bread. Yeah. Like, the rustle of the leaves in the trees doesn't, like, sing in my ears like how it used to. Yeah. He said there's just something different. And he can't quite put his fingers on it. Yeah. Yeah.
Red Bulls. So, just as Blythe's about to leave, he says, and by the way, I don't expect you to find him. But while you're there, I had a friend who was very dear to me, and his name is Berea, and he was the watchman of Cleargate. I got very close to him after his wife died, and he was good to me. And if you could please just lay him to rest, or if you could just give me some closure on what happened to him, I would really appreciate it. And he gave us the information that he wears a top hat. That's important for later. Okay?
You remember that?
Yeah, that's important for later.
Chat, you remember that?
Blythe said yes, of course. Blythe kind of broaches everything through, unfortunately, quite a pessimistic lens. She's like, listen, yeah, okay, we're probably going to find your friend, but he's going to be dead. But yes, if we find him, we will put him to rest.
We'll do what we can.
Yeah, put a pin in that one. Yeah, noted.
We'll do what we can. If we find him, he might already be dead. Yeah. We might not be able to find his body at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but if you do, like, just to know what became of him, really.
Yeah. So, that was kind of top hat pin it. That was kind of the rest of the 2 weeks. And the only other thing I said that Blythe did was over the 2 weeks, even though she seemed to be like not happier, but more herself, more comfortable, through kind of taking this more like caregiver role. I said there would be nights where she would just stay up all night and cry, and people would just hear her cry. And Abby so sweetly said every time that Dale would hear Blythe crying in the night, she wouldn't go and disturb her, but she would always leave a little sweet treat outside of her door for her for the morning after.
Like a baked good or something.
Which is just so incredibly sweet,
isn't it? It's just nice, like, building these relationships early doors is always, like, really sweet, and just finding out, like, how people react to what you like and stuff.
Definitely. They're just very, very sweet. Very sweet indeed. And then I can't really recall if anyone had anything else they wanted to do.
A lot of the same. I know that Avalor kept saying that he kept going with Father Augustine to the tree.
Yes.
Which was, really nice.
Yeah. Every night he would go with Father Augustine to the tree. Yeah. Which holds some significance somehow. Thank you so much for the follow, Tokiori Online. Thank you. And then the rest of the downtime passed, and then we set off.
Well, you didn't. As on the morning that you were going to set off, one thing that did happen was Herald Augustine was obviously going about his business. He was now more open to the public, as he'd kept himself very, like, away from the public for first few.
Oh, Harold Isak.
Isak, what did I say? Harold Augustine. Yes. Father Augustine. Harold Isak. He now began to just integrate himself into society a little bit more in Hemwick. And every time he'd see Dale, he didn't, like, make a big thing of it. It was very just on the DL.
Yes.
But the day that you were leaving, he came to your house with Father Augustine.
Yes.
Father Augustine just wanted to come and pray for you before you left. And he just came in and opened up his prayer book and just silently sat there as he began to pray. And, Harold Isak just came and, like, briefed you once more and just wished you good luck.
Yes. Yeah. Which was lovely. Yeah. Which was nice. And then we set off. We set off from Hemwick. Matthew described it as, when you first start a game and you just go over the tutorial area, and the map suddenly opens up to you and you can go kind of wherever you want. It was like that.
Yeah.
So it was very exciting.
It was exciting.
Can I pull up the map for you?
Love your podcast. Missed meeting you guys at MCM London.
Oh,
well,
Tokyo,
we're gonna be there this year if you go again.
Yes, indeed. Thank you so much for being here. I will pull up the map so you guys can. Oh, good.
It's massive.
Goodness. Oh my goodness gracious me. How do I make this smaller? Here we go. Here we go. Right. One by one. One by one. Here we go. And another one. Small. Life size. Yeah. So this is the map of Ostrendith.
Yes.
And we've started over here in Hemwick.
Mm-hmm.
And we went to, what the goal was, get to Cleargate. As you can see here, there's like an, sorry, Jack.
No, stick it over my face. My face is less important.
There's like the bridge that was rebuilt, and then there's kind of like this outside area here, right? Yeah. Sorry, I know you can't see my mouse on the screen. There's like this outside area just outside of the wall, and then inside is actual Cleargate. The goal is get to just the outside and close the gate, secure the outside, and basically go in bit by bit, right?
Yeah.
Like that was the plan, and that's what we all agreed upon. So we set off, we left, we went. It took us how long? How long did it take us to get there? Like a day and a half, maybe?
No, it only took you like half a day.
Oh yes.
It was about not even half a day. It was like an hour and a half over the bridge, and then a couple more hours to get to the outside of Cleargate.
Yes, yeah. So we get there, and you describe it as again, over Ostrendith after the comet fall, it's like a perpetual evening, right? It's dark, there's the clouds, there's no sunlight. It's very Bloodborne, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
it's almost like it's like lingering on the city.
Yeah.
Like it's clinging to the city.
Yeah. And the Cleargate was no different. One thing to note in Cleargate when we got there, it was silent, right? It was like silent. No sign of life yet. All right? Yet. And we get in and we notice that the street lamps are on. So immediately we're like, okay, well, that must mean then that the power plant is still up, right? That, regardless of if people are keeping the lights on, there's still power, which is good, which is a positive, because you have to think no one's had eyes on anywhere in Ostrendith for 6 months.
Mm-hmm. There are people like fly close to see what they can see, but they've never been able to get close enough. When you answer questions, what is a good site for D&D maps? Incarnate is a great site for D&D
Incarnate
maps.
is a really, really good site for
making
maps,
your own,
definitely.
if that's what you want.
Yeah, definitely. So we go in, and it honestly, it's just like a lot of sneaking, a lot of looking around.
Mm-hmm. Taking it slowly, approaching with caution.
Mm-hmm. And then you say that you describe. You describe what we see.
I describe what we see. So you see, there's like a banging and like a cracking of wood, and one of them rolls really good. Pen and paper, the boomer answer. There's a couple of good perception checks, and they begin to like come out of the bushes and out of the trees, and they begin to see at like the base of two of the houses, like at the front of Cleargate, there are like these wolf humanoid, like amalgamation sort of creatures. Their back legs sit higher, and their front legs are lower but wider. Their fur's all like matted and close to the skin, and there's patches that have fallen off. They don't really have any gums around the mouth, so you can just see like the jagged, horrible teeth that stick out their mouths. And they've also got completely white eyes. Anybody who has played Bloodborne would know these as Scourge Beasts.
Yay! Scourge Beast! Yay! And they're nasty. And basically,
also on top of one of the roofs, there is a cluster of what looks like
crows.
Very, very sickly looking crows with like feathers hanging off, crooked wings and stuff like that.
Hey, we told you to put a pin in the top hat. Put a pin in them crows, all right? While you're at it, pin the crows, all right? Yeah. So we try our best to skirt around these things, right? We notice that the two beasts are focused on something on the floor. There's like a floorboard that they're like digging at, and the crows are watching the beasts intently,
Mhm,
right? So
mhm.
we're like, oh, wonder if we can sneak around them. Spoiler, we couldn't.
Spoiler, we couldn't. Somebody rolled
Spoiler.
a dreadful stealth check.
Spoiler, couldn't.
I think 3 of you rolled dreadful
Dog
stealth
shit.
checks.
Yeah, absolutely fucking dog shit.
So, no, I remember exactly what happened.
Go on.
You tried to get a surprise round. You tried to get a surprise round. Everyone was like, right, I'm holding this. I'm holding this.
Dear.
And Margaret was like, okay, can I get within 30 feet? And I was like, you can certainly try.
Right. Oh my god.
She rolls her stealth check. It's like 4 or something. So
yeah.
She runs out into the middle.
Yep.
And everybody else is like,
everyone's like, thanks,
mate.
They
turn and they begin to run towards you. I still let the people who were holding spells get spells off.
Yes.
They didn't have advantage because the jig was up. But I did let them get like an attack in if they could hit.
Yes. So
Margaret ruined the surprise round.
Some could say, right? I ruined the surprise round.
Very much so. And
I would say that.
I don't give out surprise rounds very often.
Yeah.
I don't give rounds. Yeah. So the fact that they got this close was very good.
And you know what? That's my bad because the way the map was, I'm aware I can't really show you. Like, I'm really bad with perceiving things. And I looked at the map and I was like, oh, well, for me to get 30 feet is like a 5 foot movement.
Nope.
No, it wasn't. It was like
feet.
It was like 20 feet of movement. So I was like, I hedged I hedged the bet. Okay. So Jar Jar Miggs pulled a Leroy Jenkins. I did. You know what I did.
It was a true Leroy Jenkins moment. Everyone was like, okay. And she just ran out of the bushes into the open.
Oh, so we have the combat.
Yeah.
I wanted to get 30 feet so I could cast Bane.
Yeah.
Listen, it was Jordan. One time, Jordan was like, what do you prefer, Bane or Bless? Bane comes in clutch. Let me tell you, Bane, I'm so sorry. Fucks your life up.
Bane's great. But especially at low level when things don't have massive pluses to hit and we are dealing with like quite small margins, Bane has big value.
Yeah, Bane absolutely
a negative
slapped.
D4 is big value.
Yeah, Bane.
So Margaret gets that off.
Yep.
And, you know, a couple of people take some big hits.
Yep.
Namely Josh again.
Yep.
Took quite a few big hits. No,
Matthew. Oh my
nearly
god.
Went down.
Yeah, Marcus, his warlock. My god. Well, it was just a series of unfortunate events, right? It was just I can't even fully recall what happened, but he got very low, okay? And when I cast Bane, everyone was like, Margaret, can you reach the crows just in case? So I did. I was like, yeah, okay, yeah, I'll Bane the crows.
Mm-hmm.
Thank God. Because you know I said, put a pin in the crows because they're coming back. Crows. Bird attack. Oh my God, there's suddenly crows involved in the combat.
So, in case people want to know about just sort of the ins and outs of the combat. Just a little bit about from the DM's perspective of the combat. There was 2 Scourge Beasts, and there was like a one space on the board, but it was like a swarm of crows. But the Scourge Beasts had 40-foot movement speed, didn't have a massive AC, had a decent amount of HP, but they had 2 attacks, and they had basically a claw attack. If they hit with the claw attack, they get a frenzied attack because they spilt blood on the first attack. So normal attack, and then when they take the second attack, they'd have advantage if they hit with the first one. So that was really good.
Frantic batting at birds ensues. Roberto, yes, that's pretty much exactly what happened. Okay,
the birds wouldn't attack anything that wasn't below half HP.
Yes,
almost like scavenger-esque.
So
they'd stick near the Scourge Beasts.
Yeah.
But when they'd killed something and given up on like a corpse,
yeah,
they'd like go down. So when the Scourge Beasts got somebody really low, Matthew, they would swoop in, take their attacks, fly by away. Swoop in, take their attacks, fly by away.
So God bless him. He got his eyes pecked out, basically. That's how we themed it. He just got his eyes pecked out. We in the end, it's all fine. We kill the birds, we kill the beasts, all good. No, not a problem. And we have a brief moment of pause, and then Jack says, I think you ask us all for perception checks. And you say, because where we're at is like
right on the outskirts.
Yeah, and there's like streets and houses and stuff, and you had designed the map, so it's like kind of the whole section, so we could see where the streets went down.
The whole clear gate, like the winding road up to the gate into the city, with all the houses and the shops and things like that, like the Black Hammer on the right and left. But this was on like the first few houses.
Yeah.
So the combat ends, and I'm like, give us some perception checks, and a few people roll decently high. But it's not a massively hard check because what they do here is almost like talking and footsteps coming towards them. So
And then we start to see Torchlight.
Then you start to see Torchlight.
And then we hear the sound of chains.
And you hear the sound of chains.
Then we hear the sounds of growling.
And then you hear the sounds of growling.
So you have to think, from our perspective, right? Both our characters and us as players, we're like, is there going to be anything living? Anyone living, right? Any actual human beings left here in the city? Because we had no idea. Yeah. Yes. And you describe it as we see humanoids, and they once had like kind of like formal attire on, right? Some were like wearing like formal clothing, but
like dress coats and like nice corduroy trousers and like nice pairs of shoes and stuff like that. But
over time, the clothing had kind of worn away, right? And they were looking weird,
frayed at the edges,
and we saw there was someone holding an axe, a crossbow, 2 pitchforks, and Ghost of Mongoose got it right. We see someone with a top hat, and we confirm it is indeed Berea. Eisenhardt's friend. Yippee!
The monk and the rogue, Abby and Josh, get some decent stealth checks to get on the house. Matthew and Margaret struggle. So Matthew does quite a good move.
Yeah, he does an incredible move.
He casts invisibility on Margaret. Yep. There's a genie lock. He puts himself inside of his thing, and he puts it in Margaret's hand before he does it.
Yep. So, Avalo and Dale are like up and by the house, and they did really good stealth checks. Blythe is invisible. Marcus is in his genie lamp, for lack of a better word. And Blythe stays kind of further away. She like rustles some bushes to keep them away from the house.
Yeah.
And she gets a good look at them. She's like, she's gonna stand her ground and try to take a look at them.
Yeah.
And as we get there, they all have like dark, like black eyes, and they have like black tongues, and this like all the veins on their faces are like black and like
they're capillaries that have come to the surface that are like coming off the eyes, off like the mouth. There's like black tongue and jet black eyes, and like they've obviously got like black saliva because as they talk, you can see it's like coating their teeth, and they speak in this like horrible like language that you can't understand.
Yeah. So basically, they are people, but they're changed, right? Going to a Kiss concert, and Blackjack says, "Do you play live on here?" Unfortunately, not.
We basically give you a play-by-play of every session on here.
Yes, indeed. Mega rabies. Yes, exactly. Mega fucking rabies. So, we wait it out, and they have these dogs on chains, like these nasty, fucked up, weird dogs, and they're patrolling. Basically, they go away. We all take a moment to regroup, and we go inside the house to take a short rest, right? And as we're all sat there, we're all kind of talking, and Marcus was in his genie rock, in his lamp, I guess. And we are properly introduced, not our characters, but us as players are properly introduced to Marcus's patron, who is basically a granddad, a kleptomaniac granddad. He is the fucking best.
The first thing that you ever hear him say, really, I'll try and do the voice, but it's very loud, so just prepare yourselves. He's fighting the Scourge Beast, and Matthew gets like the last hit, and I'm like, how do you want to do this, Matthew? And he's like, I grab onto the rock, and me and Matthew have this thing, like the mechanic is, when he wants to speak to his patron, he just has to put his hand on the rock, and that's it. And he puts his hand on the rock, and I say, you hear a voice say, send them back from the hell from whence they came, Marcus. and that's obviously the first thing that the whole party hear of this patron of his.
And our characters don't hear it. Just us as players hear it.
Them as players hear it.
And when Marcus went into his lamp, his patron is there. Yeah. He kind of sees him as like this like shrouded figure. Doesn't really get to take a look at his face. Just sees him like shrouded. And he's sat by a coffee table, and he's looking at all these like knickknacks, and he's basically saying how much he wants to get some more knickknacks.
Well, one thing I will tell you all, because it may not be pertinent right now, but when Matthew goes in there, there's a few things that are like important. First of all, the smell. It smells like baked goods. It smells like something really sweet. there's like a long bench that goes around like a small coffee table that's like low set on the ground with a few knickknacks on it, like teeth of beasts that Marcus has killed, and there's like an oriental ornament that's got the arm broke off that the patron keeps like illusioning the arm on it and keeps telling Marcus that he would really like the arm if he can find that. There's a window that's covered up, and there's a door like away from where Marcus is that is locked, and that's sort of like the setting. It's like low lit, and Marcus can't see the top of this figure that he keeps speaking to. You just see the bottom. Nice like gown on with like some like quite nice, casual yet smart shoes on. But he just sits back and you can't see him.
Yeah. And they have a chat, and his patron's like, "You see anything nice? You bring it back to me, okay? You bring that over to me."
Because obviously he can see when you're in the genie thing, you can see and hear everything that's going on. So he's like, "Do you think you could get me that top hat?"
And Marcus, who by the way, normally very diplomatic, very level-headed, I'm a bit underconfident. He's like, "Yeah, fuck yeah, I'm gonna get you the hat."
Yes, you are, Marcus. Very good. Very good lad.
Even though he knows that, you know, because Blythe would have explained that Eisenhart said, like, this is Berea's hat, and, you know, it's important to Eisenhart. So, because Dale has a soul knife, she can have, like, a telepathic bond with someone, and she had it up with Marcus. And Marcus just says in her head, "Hey, could you get me that top hat?"
You can just grab me that top hat.
And Dale, who's on this roof, fighting for her life not to be seen, terrified of what she's just witnessed, is like, hey, look, I could. I don't know if now's the time. Why do you want the hat? And Marcus says to his patron, he's like, "Oh, she can't get me the hat." And the patron says, "Well,
is she a coward?"
So Marcus just says to Dale, "Are you a coward?" And Dale's like, "What the fuck? Where's
Marcus
this coming
has just
from?"
disappeared, and I was asking Dale like
to get the hat, like being batshit crazy, basically, right?
Weird raged questions.
Yeah, and then the patron's like, "Is she smart? How many books has she read?" And because Dale's a librarian and likes books a lot, and it was so fucking funny.
Yeah, he's a great character. I do enjoy.
Oh my god, it was so fucking funny. So that kind of conversation happens. Marcus spends some time with his patron. He comes out, and one thing to note, when I was holding his gem, which is his genie lamp, I noticed that there was a symbol on it, a very specific symbol. I don't have it, but it just know it's a very specific symbol.
It's like a
pertinent. Remember
it's like
that.
a capital T, but as if it was like done in like a Celtic design with all of like the swirls and the pointed edges and things like that.
Put a pin in that, right? Yeah. More pins. Get more pins out.
There's a lot of pins. Look, there's a lot of stuff.
A lot of pins in that. So we all sit around, we have a short rest, and we have a chat. And everyone kind of talks about, hey, listen, if you've watched Midnight Mass, it was very similar to the conversation that Riley and Erin have, where they talk about what happens when you die. And Marcus is like, well, I would like to think when you die, you go to a place where you were reunited with your family and your friends, and you're happy, and you live out your afterlife in joy, and it's a wonderful experience. And Dale is like, I would like that. That would be nice. And Avalo is like, I don't know. I don't know if there is anything after. I think when you die, you die. And everyone turns to Blythe and is like, what do you think, Blythe? And I kind of describe it like, as this conversation's going on, she's like, they're all sat in a circle, and Blythe kind of, as the conversation's happening, she's like folding like in on herself. You know, like when you are about to go into meltdown and you're trying to protect yourself and you like tuck yourself in. And she just is trying not to be involved in the conversation and crying. And Avalo, trying to help, says,
in his very stoic, emotionless way,
you don't need to worry about dying, by the way, because you're not going to die. To which Blythe says, how can I not worry about death? Like, I am the walking dead. The death follows me. All I do is worry about the dead. So don't tell me that, basically. And she storms out and she leaves. She has a bit of a paddy. She goes. We have a rest.
Yeah.
Blythe has Song of Rest because she's a bard, so that's good fun. And I themed it as she hummed a little bit of You Are My Sunshine. And then the short rest finished, and we continued.
We did, yeah. So we came out of the random house that we barricaded ourselves in for the short rest, and you were just basically moving further and further up Cleargate. You were keeping your eye out for those people and their dogs.
Yeah, we were very, very aware that they could be anywhere, and we knew that we wanted to go to the blacksmith, get some stuff for Eisenhart, and we also wanted to go to the watchtower to see if we could find any information out, more information about Berea after now seeing him in this state.
And also the watchtower, the watchman's tower, which is obviously where Berea would have been, is like this really tall spire that's almost like a lighthouse with no light in it. It's just like a completely glass around the top, so the watchman can keep an eye on ingoings and outgoings of trade and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But Avalo has a nice little stealth check and perception check. That's on top of a building and sees the Black Hammer, which is Eisenhart's blacksmith, which is just over the road from the watchman's tower, which is the building just before the gate.
Oh, what a good kawinky dink, right?
Would you believe
what a
it,
lovely little kawinky dink.
Currently, they can't see the patrol that almost caught them earlier.
Yeah. So we very carefully sneak up to the blacksmith.
There's something that you realise about blacksmith, right?
Yes, there is. It has a sign outside of it, and it's called the Black Hammer. But painted underneath the sign in a red paint is a W to signify that he is a withered. And that kind of further plays into the fact that, the withered really were treated awfully, but before the comet fall, right? They were very much excluded, very much, if you're a withered and you have a business, you have to have a W on your sign.
You have to disclose that
you have to disclose it.
So people can make the decision if they want to trade with you.
So Blythe said, well, can we take the sign down? I think it would be nice for Eisenhart to have something to remind him of his past. And she said, we'll take the sign down and we'll take the W off. Let's fucking get this. Let's scrub this W off and give it back to him. So we do. We take the sign and we go in. We gather just some, generic supplies.
Yeah, raw materials, good stuff that would be good for, weapons and armor and things like that.
Just generic stuff.
Ingots. Yeah. Straight into the bag of holding.
And kind of on the way to the blacksmith as well. If you remember, I mentioned when we first saw the beasts and the crows, the beasts were digging at something on the floor. We did investigate that, and we unfortunately saw that it was a family, parents and children who had died long ago. They were just kind of skeletal remains at this point, and they had tried to hide under a house, under a porch. And had died, and the beasts were trying to get to that. And Dale notably said, I can't imagine anything worse than not being in control. Which, hey, I don't know what that means, but that's probably very pertinent, right? So I wrote it down. It's there. So after we go to the blacksmith, we decide to go to the watchtower, and we're very scared that the patrol are going to be in there. Thankfully, they weren't. But we go upstairs and we do indeed confirm that this was Berea's living quarters. We confirmed it because there was a photo of him and his wife. There was letters sent from him to the council, or the Ashen Heart, right? Saying, it's disgusting what you've done. You putting a W on Eisenhart's sign is disgusting and you shouldn't do that. And if you have a problem with him, then you have a problem with all of us. So remove the W.
He said, remove the W or I'm going to do it myself. And if you want to come and pick a bone with him, you have to come and pick it with me first.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah. So, from what we could tell, Berea was a stand-up guy, and Eisenhart had said they were close, they were friendly, which was, pre-Comet Fall, for someone to be so welcoming to a withered was rare. It was rare. It's notable. And we also know that Eisenhart mentioned that his wife had died. So we kind of collected some stuff. We collected the photo, etc. Everyone's taking a look around. Dale's having to sit down on the bed, and Blythe, kind of a little shell-shocked from seeing that family and a little, exhausted from the day. She stood by the coat rack and she's just running her hands down his coat.
Berea's
and
coat.
You say that I find a letter in the pocket, and I get it. I read it, and it is the first thing I notice is it has the same symbol that Marcus's gem has. Okay?
The T.
The same symbol.
Yeah.
Which we had never seen before up until this point. So Blythe is immediately like, okay. She continues reading. And the letter says, it's something along the lines of...
I can do it again.
Yes.
Okay, so it's something along the lines of, it says, it's addressed to Berea, but it doesn't say who it's from. But it says, thank you very much for having us the other day when we came over. We want you to join us. We understand that your reasons for joining us may be more personal and you don't really care for what we stand for as much, but in the end, the only thing we care about is you joining.
And sorry about what they did to your wife.
And I know that the personal reasons is because of what happened to your wife and what they did to her. So let us know. Are you going to join? Are you in or are you out? And at the bottom, written in a different handwriting, what is probably Berea's handwriting, it says, I'm in.
Mm-hmm.
And it has been like folded up, put back in the pocket, and ready to take and drop off somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And Blythe's reading this, and she goes over to Dale on the bed to show her. And you say, just before she passes the note over, Blythe, as she's reading it, she notices that she recognizes the handwriting. And not only does she recognize the handwriting, but the handwriting belongs to Gale. And that's where we ended the session.
And that's where we ended the session.
And we ended the session with Jack saying the handwriting belongs to Gale. And Blythe fucking hits the deck. Blythe passes out there and then. She just eats shit and passes out. And that's where we ended the session on another cliffhanger.
She passes out.
So, again, I know that I haven't shared my backstory with you guys because I want it to be like a reveal as it happens and as it comes. But, obviously Gale is someone pertinent to Blythe.
Very
enough so that once she saw the handwriting, she passed out. And I had been through the whole first session, and I wasn't planning on doing it again for a little while. Every single time that Blythe went to say Dale's name, she would accidentally start by going and then correct herself and say Dale. But one time when she was just in passing, she was just like, oh, Gale, that's funny. And everyone at the table was like, oh my God, Gale, what do you mean? That's so silly. Oh my God, her name's Dale.
You keep getting Dale's name wrong.
Oh my God, you keep saying Dale wrong. You keep calling Dale
And I'm
Gale.
sat at the end of the table going, that's some really smart roleplay.
And I'm sat there like, and every single time they did it, I would actually try to reply in character, but obviously everyone was too busy laughing, right?
And then the next session, I'm like, Blythe, you realise this is Gale's handwriting. And Margaret's like, Blythe passes out on the bed. And then Abby's like, Gale? You were calling me Gale all
You were
last
calling
session.
me Gale. So,
and then the dots start to connect.
So that's it.
Party.
Oh, silly me. Oh my gosh, I'm
silly
so
me. I'm
silly.
such a silly
Oh my
sausage. I
gosh.
can't believe it.
Oh goodness gracious me. So that was it. That was our second session. Listen, we've already had the third session, and the third session pops the fuck off once again.
It's a heater.
Thank you, Sherry. Thank you.
It was very clever.
Thank
it
you
was
so
extremely
much.
clever.
Thank you very much. It does help that I knew that Abby's character was called Dale far before we even started thinking of character concepts. So that was something that I kind of considered.
The Watchman has a letter that has the same symbol that is on Matthew's patron's gem.
Yes.
Like his genie lamp.
Yes.
And it is written by Gale, someone pertinent to Margaret's backstory.
Yes.
Trying to recruit them into some sort of
something.
Organization or something.
Yes. And that is where we left off.
And that's session 2.
So I guess to kind of round this off for YouTube.
Thank you so much for watching.
Thank you so much. Couple of questions for you. To be honest, couple of questions for YouTube and Twitch while we're here. Our dear followers on YouTube, how did you find this?
Yes.
How did you find the format of going through this live? I really feel like this time it wasn't that different.
Yeah, it was sound, yeah.
And
we got the VOD button clicked this
we
time.
definitely got the VOD
so
button
we're definitely
clicked.
gonna have it good.
Was this pretty much exactly the same for you as the last video where we had to like pre-record it? And did you enjoy it? And obviously to Twitch, did you enjoy hearing this too?
Yeah.
It's really nice having you guys kind of chiming in as we go.
Yeah, it's good. Do you have any questions? It's okay. It's okay if not.
Yeah. Is there any questions, Twitch, you would like to go over that we could put in the YouTube video, or is that kind of Is that kind of everything?
Loved. Very good. I'm glad y'all enjoyed it.
Very good.
Very good.
Very good.
I
Very
enjoyed
good.
it.
Very good.